Hey there, vinyl community. Uh, just wanted to make a little video about turning lemons into lemonade. Sometimes you buy some gear and it don't work out. It's not really the fault of the seller or the buyer. It's just that things have a lifespan, and you gotta think hard about what you're doing when you're buying gear. You can't go about it like um, buying records to as much of an extent, but you can definitely buy and try. I've done this quite successfully with some Kef Q 15s that I paid 90 for. I've done it with some ELAC B5s that I paid 300 for. So it can be done. But I just like to present a little experience that I've had that uh, I suppose a lot of people buying used gear have come across at some point. And that is mainly getting an old Technics turntable and the problems that will mean. Since I've been keen to jump on the train of people who says buy a Mark II to a Mark V or even a Mark VI from Technics that are 40 to 50 years old, I now have to retract a bit of that statement because when I bought the Mark II and I put off 540 for it, unfortunately I couldn't get it working the way I wanted to. It was skipping in pretty much every song, pretty much 95% of the time I used it. I think I got through an A side of a record a time or two, but that was maybe 1 to 2 times of 100 records. So I tried my best pressings. I tried everything to make it work better. I set the turntable right. I did the work with the knowledge I have and what Ian from Hi-Fi News has taught me and instruction manuals, stuff like that. So really bummed out to put 540 on something that worked so bad. Now I don't really hold uh, any joy in it, in describing this. If anything, I hold some anger and resentment towards the seller, but I think that'll pass now that I've gotten a much cheaper turntable just for getting it to work. I don't think it's a very good life strategy to think about what you don't have, so I try to think about what I do have, which is a great cartridge from AT and a decent deck from AT as well, an LP2X that was sold at Guitar Center that I managed to get for zero cost. And how I got it for zero cost is mainly I have a study circle where I can send receipts for $180 for this autumn for writing songs and playing guitar. Um, and they were so cool about it that they accepted paying that sum for the turntable since it was exactly that sum that I'm supposed to be getting. So they paid for the turntable. So that was a kind of a nice turning lemons into lemonade ending, I think, to this. Unfortunately, I can only use an cartridge on it, but it's a really good cartridge, so it's still fortunate. And there's a lot of people that don't even have a turntable. There are a lot of people that don't even have roof over their head or food. So, in the even though you shouldn't downplay your pain on stuff, and I'm allowed to feel sad about this stuff, you can always think about how lucky you are in other departments. For instance, my ID was found by the police that I had lost this summer. I probably dropped it on my way to the beach. I don't think anybody stole it from me because then it wouldn't be with the police right now. I think I would be very surprised if somebody stole it from me since I have ADHD. So that's a really good thing that happened today. I had a great night yesterday with Martin. I went to see his kid play football and actually got to be a goalie for my 15 minutes of fame there. It was fun. I don't think I have stood in as a football player since I was I think it's been since I was 7 years old or something. I'm 39 now, so that was lots of fun to see Martin and his dad just having fun on the field. Um, I was also fortunate enough to be with my kid today, which is always great. I see him about 24 hours plus a few hours every week, and it's uh, it's cool every time in so many ways, and the work definitely pays off. I never like credit myself on being a good dad because I always want to become better, you know. So I won't say I'm a good dad. I think I can become better with a lot of stuff. And yeah, I just wanted to get it out there that if you're buying used gear and it's a turntable, remember that you need to have some kind of guarantee plan with the seller. I'd recommend buying a used turntable from a shop anyway. So you have some kind of guarantee from them. And if they won't even give a year's guarantee or the guarantee that they will fix it for you and make it work, I don't think you should invest in it. And even if you do invest in it and you have to fix it up like I did with the Duo before this and another Technics, it can still be problems fixing it long term. They will break down again in a few months. And I hate to say go digital, but Tidal sounds pretty good. No, I'm just kidding. Of course, don't go totally digital. Vinyls is still awesome, but I think there's some fun in the part of vinyl not being perfect, but still being really top sound compared to so much else. In my opinion, uh, I think that you never are completely done with something. But I also learned the joy of downgrading and how that could also make things better because now I have a turntable that actually spins all the time, doesn't skip. A turntable that works. Perhaps not as good sounding as the Technics, but what happiness can you get from like thinking about that? I mean, eventually someday I'll probably have a Technics again, and this too shall pass, you know. So I would also like to talk a little bit about the cheap money phono stage I had for a while. In my opinion, it doesn't really trump the Cambridge CP1 that I had before. I think it's um, a bit crazy to call it better than a Cambridge CP1. I don't think it is. Perhaps it's better than the 651. I don't know. According to Ian, it is. Perhaps I'm just so used to the yummy bass from the CP1 that I just was underwhelmed by the cheap money. Maybe I had too much demands on it. Maybe it is what it's supposed to be. It's good in a sense that it has a lot of controls if you like that you can set it for both MM and MC on the same stage. But I still don't think it's really adequate for MC cartridge if you have some more audiophile demands. Still, it was fun using it while it was working. Uh, in the summer, it started buzzing like a transistor radio, and I foolishly, no, not foolishly, but uh, I really didn't know that it was the cheap monitor was the problem. So I just thought my turntable had broken, and I'll be the first to admit this fault. I will make faults. I'll do them again, you know. And it's kind of funny because I bought the entirely new Technics that was working worse than the one I had before. It was actually working quite nicely, give or take a little hum on the electric wire that changed out and got it working well as well. So I was just so bummed when it was buzzing like a radio this summer, and I was just like, oh, I really missed my vinyl. And I was such a shitty thing to go through. Um, but either way, I guess my advice would be to, if you're buying a shit money, make sure you live in the US. Because I just didn't want to go the route of sending it there again, paying for a lot of postage just to get it fixed. And they didn't want to give me any uh, any discount on buying a new one, even though the one they sold me broke in a few months. And I mean, even from buying a pair of pants, you can always get new pants in Stockholm. Like if you just go with the old pants, you get a new pair. At most serious like big businesses. And Schiit Money, of course, isn't like a huge business. So probably they don't have those kind of resources. But I just thought, why wouldn't they just give me like 10% or something like that? And the same to the thing that sold me the turntable. I really tried to talk to him through text, and he like immediately started to lash out on me about me breaking the Technics 1200 Mark II. And with all my experience of setting up turntables, that is just not true. It's just laughable, I think, because yeah, it makes me pissed off actually. I did not break his turntable that he sold me. It did not work the way it was supposed to work. So what do you do with that? I just think that in a way I tried to mellow and be like as cool as I could about it. I didn't want to like demand a full refund because I realized that this guy is selling a used Technics because he needs the money. I would as well if I was selling some old gear. So I tried to reason with him. I tried to say like, okay, let's maybe do this amount of percentage of the whole value, and just like 37%, I think, as I was set on, like if you could pay me back just 2,000 Swedish, 200 euros about, when I spent 540 euros approximately on it with the postage and everything. And it was also many weeks late. It was stuck in the post department for so long, and that's not on him, that's on the postal department. But it was just such a bad experience buying it. Even if it was in Sweden, it was like 4 weeks overdue from Malmö to Stockholm. So not like wishing this guy shit or anything, or but I do have the attitude as a Buddhist of wishing him well anyway, and I just hope that he stops the behavior because it will eventually come back to him in some way. And I feel a little like laugh and tingle coming on, like thinking about what that will be, because it's really not cool to sell something that's malfunctioning. So that's my take on the Schiit Money, Schiit as a company, on refunds and fixing broken phone stages when you're living in Sweden and buying from the US. So what I would like you to take away is that try and buy an old Technics from an actual shop in your hometown. Do not order it from somewhere else. It's a great buy if you can find one, if it works and doesn't skip, because it sounded amazing when it was working. The few times it played, like almost the whole track. I mean, it was just such a difference between it and the turntable I have now. So it's not wrong to save money on buying used, but and I mean, Technics is not really making it easier either, charging big bucks for the same quality, or not even the same build quality, with the GR and with the SL 1500, and charging twice as much. And still they come sometimes with problems, even though they're new. And I think they should be past that at this point, since there are very few that can match their light, airy, nice sound. And I don't know, I gotta tell you, I went to the sound fair, and Technics was set up, and somehow they managed to make it sound really bad there. It sounded so bad that I could have had a room of my own with the Technics, with a Technics and my gear, and it would have sounded better, because it was buzzing, and it was just with all the gear and all the money they spent, it was embarrassing actually. And it was like the Kaiser's new clothes, or the Kaiser being naked, because then you go to the Riga room and there's a player that is not as good as Technics 1200 or 1000, and it's still with their setup you got a better experience. Then you have done a mistake, in presenting the gear. So I hope you take something away from this. It's not against techniques per se or sheet money, like trying to get at them. I'm just asking them, giving us some feedbacks to how they can step up and realize how they can make the customer feel better, so the customer will be a returning one. Because from this experience, what I take away from it is that the next time I'll buy Black Cube, I won't be buying a shit money again because I don't want it to break in a few months. And I don't want to send it to the US. So as a European customer, it's a kind of a no-brainer. You don't buy a Naguaka MP200 when you can buy a gold ring next town. So yep, that's also on me. Uh, I'll definitely learn how to go about it more. And yeah, I learned something from this, and I think in the end, it will probably benefit some people just watching this, and perhaps you'll do another choice. Maybe, hopefully, you will deal with people that are more honest when selling as well. All right, take care. Bye bye now.